Here are 7 romance books that changed my life. And yes, I do think that romance books can be described as life-changing because I said so. In no particular order, first up is Sophia Khan is Not Obliged by Aisha Malik. This book made me fall in love with reading all over again. I stayed up until 5 AM devouring this in a single sitting. Follows a young Muslim woman living in London who's asked to write about the Muslim dating scene for her publishing company. Like Bridget Jones, but a million times better. It made me laugh, it made me sob, I was just in love with it. Secondly, is it even a romance rec video by Brit if I don't include Get a Life Chloe Brown? Follows chronically or Chloe Brown, who comes up with a list of things she needs to do to get a life, and she enlists the help of her very attractive neighbour. Romance books probably shouldn't make you cry, but then again, this one did. It was honest, funny, and made me blush a little too much. I'm in Emily Henry stand first, human being second. Next on the list is Book Lovers. It follows Nora and Charlie, somewhat publishing rivals who just can't stop bumping into each other on their small town getaway. Typical style, this balances genuine emotion and healing with tasteful banter and lightness. I was obsessed with them. One of my favourite romance books of all time, and in my opinion, Henry's best. 4 on the list has to be a Mariana Zapata, and it's a book I can't believe people don't talk about more. All roads lead here. Basically, Aurora starts renting a room only to find out she's not supposed to be there at all. The owner's son was renting it behind his back. If you like small town, slow burn, grumpy dilfs, drop everything and run to this. Like I transcended onto another plane of existence while reading this book. The slow burn was so painful, but so worth it. My newest romance obsession is Funny You Should Ask by Lisa Sussman. I could not get enough of this book. I read it in a single day. Follows a journalist who keeps getting the opportunity to interview one Hollywood heartthrob, and their chemistry is insane. Gave me Evelyn Hugo vibes in a way I can't explain, but I was completely enamoured. If you like second chance, messy, high-stakes soulmates, this book is so good. Now, The Wolf and the Woodsman is a fantasy book, but the romance in here was ridiculous. There's a woman who's outcast from society and sacrificed to the woodsman, who goes on a very complex and emotional journey. It's a 5-star fantasy book in and of itself without the romance, but I cannot stress how well Ava Reid wrote this relationship. So tender and visceral, this man is utterly and hopelessly obsessed with her, and in turn, I am utterly and hopelessly obsessed with him. Lastly, A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft, another fantasy romance because I can't help myself. There's another outcast in society and the boy she must team up with reluctantly to save not only the village but herself. I tell you guys, this book gave me physical chest pains. I thought I was having a heart attack, honestly. Writing, beautiful characters, a must read. Use this as a romance TBR and thank me later for changing your life too.
My name is Sel. One of my hobbies is psychoanalyzing K-pop personas, so here are self-help books that I would recommend you based on your BTS bias. If your bias is Namjoon, you probably admire the way that he's earned the respect of the whole world for him and BTS. Maybe you wish you had more confidence in public speaking. Maybe you admire his duality for being able to take charge of any situation while still being a little bit boyish and clumsy. Or maybe you just wish that you were more comfortable speaking up about your needs. If you admire the way your bias can advocate for his art and his members, I would recommend Set Boundaries, Find Peace. This one is really great if you're just starting out your therapy or self-help journey, and it'll give you a lot of action steps and new words to help you find space in your life for yourself. For Jin, maybe you love how effortlessly put together he always seems to be, how he can play games literally the whole day and still be one of the most successful people on earth. Maybe the rest of the world admires him for his seemingly miraculous success as a part of a big group, but you probably admire him because you know that he knows his authentic worth and place as a member of BTS and as an artist, which is why he doesn't feel the need to overcompensate himself. Or maybe you just have a Sagittarius placement somewhere in your natal chart and you look to him to channel all that energy. If you admire Jin's ability to be very stable despite being super carefree as a person, I would recommend The Art of Nonconformity. This is one of the first books I read during my self-help journey, and it completely opened up my horizons. I think it really teaches you to stay true to who you really are and all of your dreams and how to follow that. Now for Yoongi, you probably just want him to tell you that he's proud of you. I feel like in terms of persona, he's super comfortable with who he is, and he's pretty emotionally open, so he would be able to reciprocate a lot of care and affection even if he complains while doing it. Maybe you wish you had a figure like him growing up who would push societal expectations and boundaries in favor of honesty, truth, and authenticity. Or maybe you're the kind of person who knows the value in quiet acts of service. Or maybe your inner child wounds just need some tending to through very, very gentle self-regulation. I would recommend The Body Keeps a Score, and if you're more logical like your bias, I think you would appreciate this one. But this is definitely more of the basics introduction to trauma and trauma studies, so this would be a starting point for the rest of your journey. Now for Hobie, you probably want to believe in all the good in the world, in hope, in manifestation, in the universe being kind to you. Maybe the world was a really heavy place when you were growing up, or maybe you're just tired of being cynical. You probably defend his talent, vision, and personality with everything that you have, and you probably wish that the world was as kind to you as you are kind to him. If you admire J-Hope's ability to make the world a lovelier place, I would recommend The Universe Has Your Back. I think this book is such a beautiful book for transforming your perspective to love life a little bit more.
So I read 402 books this year. Yes, you heard that right. So let's talk about my favorite books by trope. For Brother's Best Friend, I chose Twisted Love by Anna Huang. For Forced Proximity, I chose Flawless by Elsie Silver. My favorite retelling, Wretched by Emily McIntyre. My favorite rock star and favorite stalker romance, this one works for both, Vipers and Virtuosos by Salvar Miller. For Marriage of Convenience, I could not just choose one, so I'm going to go with Marriage for One by Ella Mays, Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. My favorite mafia romance, I have both versions, Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. Ain't nobody surprised by that one. My favorite enemies to lovers, Reluctantly Yours by Erin Hawkins. For age gap and also like opposites attract, I chose Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This story is literally so beautiful. It is one of my favorite books of the year. Absolutely loved it. My favorite forbidden romance, Quarterback Sneak by Candy Steiner. She is the coach's daughter and he's the quarterback. You're welcome. So while this one is a really great enemies to lovers, I also chose it because it's a good friends with benefits. So if you like that trope, you're going to love this one. Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. My favorite celebrity romance, Fallen Stars by Sarah Matterson. It also is a really great second chance romance as well. My favorite rivals to lovers, Water Under the Bridge by Kelson Denise Stone. So this one could be like boss, employee, workplace, however you want to do it. They work together. By Thread by Lucy Score. Also a really good enemies to lovers as well. My favorite friends to lovers, The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. He got that money, honey. He's a billionaire. Worst Best Man. Also a really funny enemies to lovers. Grumpy Sunshine, I couldn't just choose one. So we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. And we also have the book talk sensation, It Happened One Summer by Miss Tessa Bailey. My favorite second chance romance, Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. Fake dating is literally one of my favorite tropes, literally ever, so I could not decide. But we have Wilder at Heart by Sarah Matterson. We also have The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. My favorite small town romance, Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. My favorite sports romance, Blindside by Candy Steiner. Also really cute fake dating. In all honesty, I literally read so many amazing books in 2022, and my TBR is absolutely stacked, so I'm going to get back to reading.